I'm Flory. Very busy week this week. Spent a lot of time building, a lot of time editing, everything else. Got so much videoing to do and sort out. First of all, big apologies to all the videos that haven't been streaming at all well on the site. Bit of background, we use a company called VBrick who do all our video hosting. Now, to be honest, we have now got 788 videos with this company. So the bit where some of the guys were saying, can't you just put them with someone else? No, we've literally got thousands of hours of video with them. Now, don't get me wrong, these are not a small company. They deal with companies like NASA and things like that, and the US government, US Air Force. They are the streaming provider for these companies. They are not cheap, okay? But we've had no downtime with them at all in the last 7 years. Just so happens that they're trying to speed things up, it turns out, and you know what it's like with IT. You try and fix something that isn't broken in the first place, you can guarantee it will never work ever again. This is the trouble they've had. To be honest, I think I was fobbed off a little bit in the early days, and I was obviously putting up the messages onto the news site and into the forum as well, saying bear with us. We had lots of trouble. In the meantime, I was sticking stuff up onto YouTube as well, like, as you say, a lot of the review videos, stuff like that, on there. Some of them were, some of them weren't. That's why some guys were saying, oh, I don't have a problem, I've just viewed it. That's because it was YouTube and that was fine, versus our own servers and things like that. So, unfortunately, it was a bit of a nightmare, and I know a lot of you are getting very frustrated with it because you couldn't watch the videos, they were locking up, they were hanging and everything else. Now, I was told this a few days ago that it's all fixed and everything's fine. I've now been told again it's now fixed and everything's fine. So, fingers crossed, everything should be absolutely okay on our own servers from now on. The other thing as well, you might have noticed we've had quite a large upgrade behind the scenes, but certainly from what you can see as well in the forum, we're now completely mobile friendly. So it works on all the iPads, it works on all your Android phones, mobile phones, everything else like that. Because before you couldn't do smiley faces or add video and images and everything else through the nice new box at the bottom. Now you can. Hopefully it should be all working, but again, it's one of those things, it's been brought in over the last few days, so sometimes it disappeared, then it came back. It's just those little teething problems and everything else. All of this, unfortunately, is completely out of my hands. I don't do IT, I have no idea. Amazing me how I built the site and it all works. I'm still amazed by that. But certainly, all these ones I've been having have been slightly out of my hands, so there's not a lot I've been able to do about it. Excuse me, it's still a little bit wet and I'm worried about it sticking to the bench. So anyway, hopefully we are all now back up to speed. In the meantime, as all that's been going on, short of fighting with these providers and trying to fix everything, we have managed to finish off the Merkava tank. So really cracked on very speedily with this one and done this one. Lots of people have been asking various questions about it. You can see down here, looking lovely. Yes, it is just the wash. Originally, I was going to do turpentine washes and everything else like this. And when you watch on Tuesday, the last part for this, I will go into great depth all about it. But I am one of these modelers who, I have a system, admittedly I invented, that works, okay? I just put a wash on, I let it dry, I wipe it off. I can't see the point of going round using chemicals, enamel paints, turpentines, oils, pin washes to do what I can do literally in seconds, okay? Weathering this completely start to finish probably took no more than half an hour. But you get other guys and they say, well, you don't describe how you do things and like that. And I had a little bit of criticism from one of our members in particular, who is still with us, don't panic, and he was saying about you only ever show your wash and you don't show how to do this and you don't show how to do that. I'm one of these guys, I do what I do because I know it works, okay? Various chipping techniques I've covered in the past, I do them because I know it works. I don't do other versions and what other people do because I don't think they work particularly well. Either I don't think they're very realistic, I think it's too much hassle and things like that to do exactly the same form in something else like that. I.e. what we've done with this particular one, which is to give this nice worn down, weathered look, oily and everything else. So I have gone round and we've used metallizer paints to do chipping and scuffing and things like this to give us a nice muted down effect, very heavily weathered without being kicked in, destroyed, bent, chunks out of it and all the rest of it. And hopefully you can see, you know, going through this one and the way I explain it, as I'm just trying to show you the simplest way of doing it. Because as I say, I'm not one of these guys that jumps on, and I don't have an entire range of all different oils and pigments and everything else like that to do something where I can just chuck wash on it and be done. So hopefully you're not all totally disappointed. Because I say, I know a lot of you are waiting for me to do various techniques with it, and I have done it my own way for doing it. But that's just the way I like to model. I'm one of these guys, I don't tend to sort of conform to some of the modelers, shall we say, and the way that they do it. But anyway, Merkaba, you can watch part 6 of that is up on the site now. 5 and 6 went up this week. We've got a last part, part 7, which is full on. It goes right the way for a half an hour part on this one, which really brings it all together. We talk about the final stages of the weathering, using the rubber paints for things like that and everything else. I do have to say, this, you know, I'm not an armour guy, as you know, by a long shot. I like my sort of aircraft and glossy aircraft and things like that. But working on this one, it's real fun. It's little things. I don't like doing tracks, they're a nightmare. Working with these tracks, these are individual tracks, there's 220 whatever it is on this one. It wasn't too bad. A few hours sitting down, no problem. I don't like doing wheels. I showed you a quick little technique about using masks to do wheels. They didn't take long at all. Again, put us right in track with it. Weathering though is where you can go to town. You can bung these together, limited filler, little things with this one. I showed you using PVA glue to do weld lines, to give that sort of weld effect, and everything else is what we did down here. And everything else, and really you can sort of play with weathering and do it. And hopefully I've showed you using the washes on this one how exactly, you know, I mess around with weathering and get different effects by doing different things and everything else like that. And also we use the polyurethane paints for the first time on this one, and I am a big old fan of this stuff. You know, originally I couldn't see the point of using polyurethane paints on something like this, where quite frankly, you know, you're going to end up, you know, normally you go right the way over it and everything else with different paints. But the polyurethane paint as a primer works brilliantly because it gives you a solid base to work with, and it's extremely tough. The trouble with all the Model Airs and that, you rub them off. This stuff you cannot rub off, it goes on forever. So if they wanted to do an entire range of paints in polyurethane, I'll be quite happy with that. I do like them, I think they're fantastic, and I can see the point of having a primer and base coat in one, because it does give you a fantastic starting point to go through with your actual modelling. So there we go, that is that one out of the way. Really enjoyed it. Yes, we will be doing a lot more armour in the future. Other thing, a lot of people have been asking me about, it's literally just been out of sight, is this little glossy lady. You can see just down here, hopefully it's nice and glossy. I'm still editing it, if I'm honest. We're still going through it and everything else like that, but this was done is our special on gloss paints, which is going to go along with the, when we did the Tamiya Nighthawk, with obviously doing dead flat greys and blacks, and talking about the difference between painting flat black and gloss black, and to give you it. To be honest, I'm doing a little bit on lacquers as well, which I'm just adding to the video. There is a half-hour video of this coming out on Monday next week, which will be the first part of this. Part 2 will then talk about lacquers, which is obviously underneath all the decals on here, giving us great sort of gloss black finish and everything else. But the trouble, because we have the server, I didn't want to upload it to the server. Well, I did, and then it didn't work, okay? So I've uploaded it onto YouTube, and then I've got to put it back up onto our own server again. So that will be up on Monday, and then what I'm going to do is put it together, put this on the stand, you'll see it on the stand and everything else like that, which will then complete our special on glosses and everything else like that. In the meantime, this little lump is just started on it. To be honest, I've just started working on the interiors for it. Part 1 of this will be up next week as well, probably on Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday, where we talk about obviously how we're going to work it. You know, I'm putting a little bit of lighting in this because down the back here we have a nice little opening which will have the ramp down. We've got these side ones as well for looking in these hanger. Obviously if it's dark you're not going to see it, so I'm going to put some tiny little LEDs into this one so you can see exactly what's going on the inside. Big old project, we'll be weathering it very similar to how we did the tank in a lot of ways, but as I said, it is a lot of fun. It's a long old build which is going to take quite a while to go through. I'm hoping to have it done in time for Telford and everything else. I'm away just before Telford for a week with the Snap charity, okay, in what have we got? It's going to be 2 weeks on Saturday. I leave for Snap charity just for a week, and then I'll be back after that. Don't panic, I'll leave you with plenty to watch. Same time as doing all of this, we've got reviews on the go. We'll talk about the ones we've done at the moment. We've done both the Airfix ones, which you'll find on the site today. Method in the madness. I know they're not new kits or anything else. We were talking about basic modelling. I'm doing a brand new video on basic modelling. It's probably going to be a 6-parter. If you watch the Spitfire one, there's a little bit, I talk about it in there. So I'm going to be doing it on some basic kits to show you all the basic steps. So we're going to be doing the entire models, building them as a whole. So my idea is I'm doing 2 of these, 2 Spitfires. We're going to be doing one in the D-Day markings with the two-tone grey and the green scheme with the invasion stripes, talking about painting, gluing, my tools, everything else like that, why I use it, why I don't use it, all of those on something quite small, so really we can rattle through it, okay, and talk about the build. Then we're going to be doing the little de Havilland vampire here, purely so I can show you about using metallizer paints in a very basic form to show you about putting them down, how to mask them, because obviously, you know, a lot of people have trouble masking, and how to overcoat them as well to seal down metallizer paints so they're all nice. At the same time, I'm going to be doing this guy, which we reviewed a couple of weeks ago, is the Harrier the FA2. Now, I know it's pretty much a horrible kit, and not the best on the market, but I want to talk to you about doing grey paints and everything else like that, and the Harrier is a particular favourite of mine. So I'm going to talk to you about how to lay down normal one-tone grey paint, because this is what this one is, and how to break it up and making it a little bit more three-dimensional and everything else like that. So, between all 3 of them, it should cover the entire of basics and modelling and everything else like that. Then, at a later date, hopefully before Christmas, I'll be bringing out our new intermediate video, which will go along with, so we'll have basic and intermediate modelling, and we'll be talking about, you know, obviously things like that. But they'll be brand new, obviously in the new high definition as we get it here. 3 cameras running, so you'll see everything in glorious detail. A couple other things happening at the moment. We've got the Gannett review, that will be up mid next week or early next week. To be honest, it's a repop of the original one. And then obviously we've got the Meng Tortoise, which is something I saw when we were at the Bovington Tank Museum, sorry, just thinking of it, which is the reference for this particular kit as well. So it'd be interesting when I build this one, which I am going to, I'm going to talk you through the museum piece, which obviously this one is the reference for as well. So that'll be quite interesting to do in the near future. So that's about it for this week. Needless to say, we've got the medals have just turned up this morning. Okay, this is the Flory Models medal, which everybody who took part in the last group build will be receiving. Okay, and then what I'll be doing is I'll be speaking closely with the team as well, finding out who won, what, where and ever, and I'll get the video the video review up for you next week, and then we'll get all your details and everything for the medals to be sent out to everybody who took part in the last group build. No, we haven't made a final decision on the new one yet. I will do next week. I'll speak to the team and we'll try and thrash out something for you next week, so we'll know what we're doing for the next video build. So, as a lot of you know, we spoke about, especially in the forum, for my birthday, which is back in March, okay, Mel, my partner, got me a driving day on tanks and heavy armour here in the UK. So we had to book it and everything else. So we had the weekend away last weekend where I got up with driving some very nice heavy armour. So I'm going to leave you with a little bit of footage from that as we go. Remember, all of this lot will be on the site next week. Just had trouble with it. I'll be videoing all weekend and we'll be getting on with the ship and putting that one all together and everything else like that. So until next weekend, everybody, happy modelling and take care.
Right, lever there.
Yeah.
Lever there, that's the steering. Just rest your hands on it and you pull it up on the toe too, okay?
Yeah.
Put your right heel on the right knob belt for me, please. Your right, not my right. Put your toes up in the air.
Yeah.
Move the whole foot up and forward. Keep going up and forward, toes up in the air. Up and forward, keep going up and forward. No, your toes underneath the floor. Get them up in the air. Then move the whole foot up and forward.
Up and forward?
Yeah, keep going, toes up in the air.
Oh, yeah,
that's it there.
Yeah.
Left foot in the same position as your right foot. Swing your toes across to the left, little gear lever over on the left hand side there. Come back this way a little bit, just there.
Yeah.
Put your toes underneath that lever, click it up. Toes on top, click it down. Toes underneath, click it up twice for me, please. That's it. So we change up down for the gears. Put those on for me, please. Just lean forward. Lean forward a bit more. That's it. Hear me?
Yeah.
When you're ready, gently on the throttle with your right foot Right, next driver, please.
Fantastic. Nice one, Stephen. Hey, yeah, all right. Yeah.
You're going to pop those on for me. So you've driven the APC, haven't you?
Yeah.
So it's exactly the same controls as the APC, you've just got a lot less room in there.
Right.
If you want to stand on the seat and lower yourself in.
Compact and bijou.